in Nigeria. But more importantly, what is the court of public opinion saying? What is the court of public opinion saying? Do they acknowledge the fraudulency of the 1999 Constitution, which is Military Decree 24? And if not, why not? What about the legitimacy of the Nigerian sovereign nations? Yes, there were sovereign nations. And you know how I know this? It says they were autonomous. Autonomy means sovereign. They were self-governing. So why hasn't the world acknowledged that legitimacy and be clamoring to have it restored? Because as we know, they don't exist right now in Nigeria. We have states that are not self-governing and they are not autonomous. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So welcome everyone again. And we do have a few people in the room here who are going to be talking about this. I'm providing the reason. And then at the end, we're going to be talking about what do all indigenous Nigerians need to do from the north all the way down to the south? What do we need to be doing to see that the correct narrative is going there? And not just the narrative. The narrative is great. However, we want action, right? At the end of the day, when we get the world to act, that is going to bring about the success that we seek. So we'll talk about that as to what we all need to do. So today I do have Stephen Filati, who is going to be, one of our key presenters. We have Noah. Noah, you're welcome. Hopefully you're going to be able to, come in today. And then we've got Citizen AY, who is chomping at the bit to go.
Always, as always.
Knowledge is power.
It is.
Power is freedom. And so we're here equipping you with the knowledge so we can regain our power to regain our freedom. So welcome everyone. Again, we're going to be talking about why has the world not acknowledged the fraudulency of the 1999 so-called Constitution, which is actually Military Decree 24? And why has it not acknowledged the legitimacy of the sovereign nations called regions between 1960 and 1966? Welcome, Citizen AY, if you can say hello to the people.
Okay, thank you very much, Jean. Good evening to each and every one of us. My name is Citizen AY, as you all know, regular on this Freedom from Nigeria platform, where we are talking about the need for our people to actually wake up and begin to hold these governors to account. The central issue is very much like Jean said, why is it that the world is refusing to acknowledge the autonomy of the various regions and the steps they are taking to blatantly avert their eyes from what is patently obvious? The voice of the millions of people from the regions, from the Western region, from the Eastern region, from Middle Belt, to actually say, look, we want to be on our own. And we're hopefully going to try and put some things before you for us all to consider. All of this is intended to encourage and empower those of us in the Middle Belt and the South collectively as a whole, and everything in between,
as a
whole, to ensure that we the people, we take the steps that we need to take. Whether or not the world recognizes chooses to recognize or not recognize what is actually what we're asking for. The plan is to encourage us as a whole to take collective steps to achieve our collective common goal, which is self-determination. So that's what we're about. So I welcome you all. Those of you watching the show, please do share this broadcast. Please, the watchword here is unity. The watchword here is unity.
Unity is our strength. That's our motto. Exactly. Unity is our strength.
Indeed. So please let us all make sure the focus remains on that subject, which is unity. Unity of the Middle Belt and the South in achieving our common aim, which is self-determination. So I'll stop there for now. Thank you very much.
Okay, Stephen, do you want to say, give a quick introduction, and then we'll be off and running. I'll pull up the presentation and we will be off and running. You need to unmute.
Thank you, Jane. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a distinct honor to be present again today to discuss the issues affecting our nation.
Our beloved land.
The ethnic nation, the ethnic nations, the issues affecting our ethnic nations and our current agitation, if you will, to free ourselves from the appendages of the Fulanis. I would be honored to make contributions to why the global community is turning a blind eye to the legitimate agitation for sovereignty and why they continue to turn a blind ear to all the cries that we are making. I don't know if I'm allowed to go ahead now or just
no, well, no, we're going to go through the presentation
okay,
and talk about the Constitution.
Thank
we're
you
just
very
in an
much.
introduction. So we're going to go ahead and get started so that I'm going to share my screen so that we can really start diving into this to talk about, what's going on. As you know, as everyone should by now know, because we have been sharing this over and over again, the fact that we had the region. So if you look on the left-hand side, you will see in pink that you have the northern region, which everybody by now needs to know is both the northern region and the middle belt. The middle belt is this section in the middle, which has a huge amount of space in there, and that's where the Fulani herdsmen, Boko Haram, ISIS, etc., have been taking out their campaign, the ethnic cleansing campaign, as T.Y. Danjuma put that there. So again, these are the things that we're going to be talking about, and at the end, we'll talk about what we need to do. So, what is a constitution? That's something that we need to understand, because our young people need to understand what it is. The Constitution is simply something that the people put together in a democracy, which we are supposed to be. Hold that thought. We're supposed to be a democracy. We'll look to see if this Constitution passes a test. But it's really is a set of fundamental legal and political rules, right? It's about how we're going to build that state. It's about, what kind of lawmaking institutions we're going to have. It's about how it's going to be operating, the government, the political principles, and more importantly, the rights of the citizens. Rights of the citizens in a democracy is very important, because the power in a democracy resides with the people, not with the managers, not with the political class. It resides with the people. So we'll talk about how the Nigerian 1999 so-called constitution does this. It has to be based on widespread public legitimacy. And we have seen if that public legitimacy, all I'm going to say is no referendum, no constitution. And then we'll talk about, like, how do you make change? And the fact that it needs to have a provision for a referendum, right? While I'm saying that, any one of you can Google and see if there's any provision for a referendum in the Nigerian Constitution, so that we will know whether it is a constitution or not. And then it has to meet the internationally recognized criteria for a democratic system in terms of representation and human rights. As you guys can see, these are like pretty important things that we need to talk about. So let's dive right into it. Okay, I see that Stephen has raised his hand, so I am going to let him go ahead before we now start talking about what really is this 1999 Constitution. And then the next thing we'll talk about is we're going to go through a series of things about what's wrong with it. Okay, so bear in mind the criteria that we've just talked about, and then we'll talk about, how this Constitution, this 1999 quote unquote Constitution, is a fraud. Go ahead, Stephen.
Thank you, ma'am. I just want to say in very simple terms what a constitution is. A constitution is a document of the people, by the people, for the people, that sets out the basic criteria for their self-governance. based on that definition, nothing in the so-called 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria qualifies.
So let's talk about that next, Stephen. Okay. So
Yes,
again, can you give that definition again, the simple definition so people would know?
A constitution is a document of the people, by the people, for the people, that sets forth the basis of governance, of their self-governance.
Right. So it talks about, like in our case, we're supposed to be a democracy. We're supposed to have equal representation and then the rights of the citizens. So let's talk about what is this? Why is it a fraud? Why are people saying that this 1999 Constitution is a fraud? Here are some thoughts up here. So let's get folks talking about this. 1999 Constitution is said to be Military Decree 24.
Yep. Promulgation military decree number 24.
Exactly. And where can we find this military decree 24? There's actually a specific place where we can find it, unfortunately. Because in a response to Abdus by Clifford Irania, who is one of the key members in NINAS, he mentioned that this actually is an appendage. It is an appendix. 1999 Constitution is an appendix to military decree 24.
Promulgation decree number 24.
An appendix, right? So the other thing that we need to know about a constitution, as Stephen has said, is that only the people can make the Constitution, not military government, not the political class, or in our case, elite, the political chop, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the buying and selling of delegates, right?
Indeed.
And the forcing people to withdraw so that other people cannot, get the nomination, right? Same thing, right? Okay. So only people can make a constitution. So here we're having our constitution being an appendage in military decree 24.
Yes.
Okay. And we're going to watch a video now. So give me a second. Let me bring the video from the information minister at that time and what he had to say about this constitution. He was quite perturbed by it. So just give me a second so that I can bring that up. But in the meantime, if you guys want to go ahead and chat about what we talk about, that's fine.
Okay, let's if I may, what I quickly want to do, I want you to understand when we talk about the Constitution being an appendage to the promulgation decree number 24 of 1999, this is exactly what we mean. In actual fact, the government is lying. They are lying. They are telling you a bare-faced lie. And we say that with authority because within that document, they also reveal that lie themselves in the manner in which they write the documentation. When a document tells you, when they write in the document that they are going to omit the fact that it's a promulgation decree, that is a lie.
Exactly.
That is a lie.
And actually, when they first printed it, it was printed that they should remove that statement that said it was not made by the people.
Thank you.
And so and if you guys recall, and we'll be talking about it, Obasanjo was not sworn in on that constitution.
No, it wasn't.
Because there was nowhere to be. Yeah. Okay, so let me just share my screen so that we can talk about what Nyamodo, who was the one that would have been in charge of that, had to say about that constitution. Because it's important for us to know.
49 people elected, selected to write a constitution, wrote a constitution. 40 people in the Supreme Military Council promulgated a constitution for us. Under General Abubakar, government in which I served, I was in executive council. I never saw the draft constitution. And I was Minister of Information. It was my responsibility to publicize it to the country. On the day of swearing in of Obasanjo, we didn't have a copy of the constitution. And my ministry was supposed to pay for the printing. And Obasanjo was sworn on a constitution that had not been read by anybody. And the National Assembly could not be constituted until 4 days after he swearing in, because there was no clean copy of the constitution. You cannot build on quicksand. A country cannot live on falsehood.
Okay, that was pretty powerful there.
Yeah.
That the country cannot live on
falsehood.
He had quite a few things to say, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about those things that he had to say. Okay, let's talk about those things that he had to say. So anyone can go ahead and talk about the things that he had to say, because those
Now,
are very
look,
powerful.
okay, let me, okay, whilst others, I think I don't see anybody else, so I'll chip in here whilst you're doing that. Now, I just want to bring your attention to the words I said there. You know, you cannot build a nation on a quicksand. You know, and that's exactly what it means. Where the evidence we are looking for is the collective voice of the people reflected within the document. The evidence we are looking for is the voice of the people reflected within that document. So there will be a point within that document that will state that we, the people, willingly together, having put together a referendum, having voted on it, we now support this constitution. That is the seal of approval that has been missing and remains missing till date. We will
at the beginning, remember what he said, Citizen AY,
yes,
at the beginning, the number of people.
Yes, 49 people wrote the constitution. 49 people wrote the constitution. 40 people promulgated it into law. Those are the words that he said. Exactly. And there are millions of us. And this is why I'm saying to you, please, we say it categorically and confidently that you as a Middle Belter, you as a Yoruba man, you as a Biafran, you have the power.
As Igbo people, no as Ijaw people, as Biram,
as everybody, and everybody in between. You have the power to say, I no longer wish to be ruled by a fraudulent a document, because this document is a fraud.
Right, and we'll talk about a little bit more about that, right? Because in this case, I mean, we've established the fact that the people did not come together to do this. So it has failed one of the tests that we're talking about, you know, by the people. That has failed that test of by the people. So, and then he talked about the fact that the printing of it, the one didn't even know where that was printed. That's because, remember, they made the error. Yeah. And put in the military decree 24 thing on there that was not removed. And so they had to reprint it. And then he also said that the National Assembly was not even pulled together until 4 days later,
after, right? Because
and then Obasanjo, we don't know what we don't know what they were using. The people didn't know that, right? So that's a huge problem to this quote unquote constitution. Just in the, you know, when we talk about the making of it, you know, that presents a huge problem, obviously. Go ahead, Citizen AY.
Now, what I really want to bring your attention to, all of us, in all of this, is to understand that the document that you're looking at, the so-called promulgation decree, was brought into law on the 5th of May, 1999.
Absolutely.
To replace the 1979 fraudulent constitution, so-called quote unquote. It's simply a redraft and some subtle changes here and there, you know. And within 4 weeks, within
and that's why
please, everybody needs to mute their lines, please. If you're in here, please
very important.
Mute your line. Paul.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna mute you.
Okay.
Please don't unmute until you're ready to speak, please.
Yeah. So now, what is very important to understand in all this what is very important, and the reason I'm bringing this up is this: you had within 4 weeks, these military men, 40 in a room, passed a constitution that would impact the lives of millions of us, perhaps 180 million of Nigerians, till the day as we speak right now, without our consent. There is no way, this is what I want you all to understand, there is no way that process can be done within 4 weeks.
Well, I'm like, the question too is this, right?
Yeah.
Where's the referendum? Where are the plebiscite? Because we were going from a system of government that was parliamentary, right?
That's it.
When did the people come together and decide on a different form of government?
No way. We weren't asked.
Right, because they have not produced it, right? Because we have been asking them, where is it? One of the things that you guys will remember, some of you don't know, that in 2007, the Movement for New Nigeria, which is now NINAS, right? The Movement for New Nigeria, which was actually a movement for no unitary Nigeria, had filed a lawsuit, and this was a combination of of Middle Belt to the South. They filed a lawsuit challenging that 1999 Constitution, and as soon as it was released, everyone started talking about it. Everybody started saying that this is not by the people, it can't be by the people. And one of the things that they were also laying claim to is that it is contrary to the agreement made at independence, right?
Exactly.
Because in this new unitary Nigeria, there isn't a federal government, because federal requires more than one nation. You need to have a number of nations to make a federal. And in Nigeria right now, we have states that are not self-governing. They're not autonomous, right?
Exactly.
And they don't have control of their assets. They all are tied into a federal government. And now they were trying to tie in the local government too into the federal government. So they're centralizing everything. They're using that 68 item exclusive list and 30 item semi-exclusive. So pretty much everything is in the central government, right?
Let me, Jean, if I may interject a little bit there, I just want to put a bit of context to this so that people can really understand what is being said here. Here we have a document where we, the people, had no say in, none, zero say, being imposed on us, telling us that it is a federal structure, but the evidence, very much like Jean had just said now, there is no evidence of the federal structure within that, what they've done. What is also glaring is that our voice as the people is not reflected anywhere in this process, nowhere. But then I want to take you back to a particular point. June 12, 1993. That is the day where the voice of the people spoke the loudest. It spoke the loudest. On that day, MK Abiola won 8 million votes. Tofa, a northerner, won 5 million votes. Yet this military government, they silenced the very voice of the people. And they now replaced it come June 5th of May 1999 with 40 men, with the voice of 40 men. This is what I want you to really understand. So when you are telling us, if you're saying you're one Nigeria, what you're really saying is you are happy for the government, for the military government to have silenced the voice of millions of people. 8 million voted for MK Abiola, and they stole his mandate, took his life, and you are now happy to support the same 40 men that illegally abrogated themselves power, took power from us, the people collectively. And you're not prepared to believe on that in that document.
Okay.
That's this is the enormity of what you're saying.
Yes,
because absolutely. Whether you like, and here's another thing I want you to really understand: the people that voted for MK Abiola were not just Yorubas or Igbos or Middle Belt; they were Fulanis and Hausas as well.
Absolutely.
And these are the realities that you need to understand. So you need to understand why we are so vehemently opposed to this fraudulent 1999 constitution. The voice of the people was silenced. It is not a constitution, it is a promulgation decree. Let's be factual, actually, you're right. It is a promulgation decree, and it remains so. And we are telling you, so Jean, I'm going to pull back now. I'll let you carry on, but I just wanted to just put that point in. Carry on, sorry.
I know, this is a very passionate topic. Yes. We do have a lot to talk about. So I'm going to give Bolade a couple of minutes to talk about come up and talk about the things that we're talking about. Go ahead, Bolade.
Right. Okay. Yeah. My journey on this thing was that started a couple of years ago when I heard Chief Banji and I think the NAS guy was
Professor
there.
Banji Akintoye, you mean?
Yeah.
Professor Banji Akintoye,
Okay.
Sunday Igboho, they were saying, they said particularly we're out of Nigeria, and they mentioned this thing about the constitution not being a constitution of the people. I said, wait a minute. That can never hold. But unfortunately, it had been done. Now, excuse me, I'm not quite sure. I think there's a bit of more fraud than you really realize, because there was another gentleman not too long ago. I don't know his name. Unfortunately, I don't know people's names. He said, actually, the document of the Constitution does say we the people, but the people never did it.
Yeah,
And I said,
I'm going to share the preamble. So
yeah, that's the preamble. It does say we the people, but we the people never did it.
No, exactly.
So that's another lie they're doing.
Exactly.
They want us to masquerade and say the people did do it, whereas we never did. Then in the 9X video I watched yesterday, it said actually there's a pyramid of power of the structure, right? There are 5 layers. At the top, you have the British crown. Second to them, you have the caliphate, the Sokoto caliphate. Then you have either the constitution or the government. Yeah, I think you have the constitution. Then you have the federal government. Then at the very bottom, you have the masses of the people who this whole structure is now downtrodden on. It's now trodden upon. We, the people at the bottom, must obey this fraudulent structure above us that we don't know how it got put in.
Okay, let's look at the preamble.
Yes. Yes.
It said, the preamble states, we the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, having firmly and solemnly resolved, and we'll hear what Clifford has to say about the solemn piece of it, resolved to live in unity and harmony as one indivisible and indissoluble sovereign nation under God, dedicated to the promotion of inter-African solidarity, world peace, international cooperation and understanding, and to provide for a constitution for the purpose of promoting the good government and welfare of all persons in our country on the principles of freedom, equality, and justice, and for the purpose of consolidating the unity of our people, do hereby make, enact, and give to ourselves the following constitution. Okay. Let the war begin now. Sorry.
Now, okay. Let me. Perhaps maybe we want to. Anybody else want to comment before we if you want to chat, come in, please.
Stephen, if you want to make some comments on that,
go ahead.
See your champion.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
That preamble sounded so sweet. It's almost believable if we didn't know the word. Yes, thank you.
Exactly.
Right. So it says that we firmly and solemnly. Was there a solemn assembly?
No way.
No way. So how could we have solemnly done this?
Yes, there was at the Supreme Military Council.
Yeah. Among
they all had guns.
The 40 thieves cannot make a constitution, as we talked about. It has to be by the people. The people. Right?
We, the people, we are just not invited. That's all.
Exactly. The 40 thieves in the room. The 40 thieves in the room. They abrogated themselves the power to speak for the people, and we reject it. That 40. The thieves. They are thieves.
Guys, that 40 has increased to a lot more, and they're called politicians.
Yes.
Because we'll talk about what they've been doing, right? We'll talk about what they've been doing.
Okay,
this preamble is false because we've been at this, and Tony and Natty and team have been at this, and a lot of the people that were there in Ahoro, etc., have passed on, but they immediately called the government to book, right? They were like, wait, no, you can't do this because this isn't by the people, right? So, so they started working on this to say that this is not right. This was not made by the people. The people have not come together, to do this, right? And yet here we are, right? It shows up. And in 2007, as I said, the Movement for New Nigeria did file that lawsuit, and they didn't have an answer to the lawsuit, so they had it moved to Lagos from Abuja. And in 2009, they had all kinds of delay tactics, including, fake fires in the building, judges not being available, whatever else, and did not actually address that lawsuit that challenged the legitimacy of that constitution, given that the people did not make it, and there wasn't a referendum, there wasn't any solemn assemblies, etc. To that point.
It's all barefaced lies.
Yes. And again, Abdul Salam made some statements recently, and we'll get to that in a minute, about this constitution, and we'll take a look at, quite a long segment. It's a little long, but at least some of the key things we'll get from what Clifford Irania has to say about this preamble, etc., etc. Okay, so I'll let you guys continue on that.
Okay.
Citizen AY, did you?
I just wanted to just state. Can you just show the preamble for a second, please? Because there are some things I wanted to break down. I wanted to highlight for the people. Absolutely. Because sometimes we don't look at those words, and there is a three-line word.
Right.
There's three-line words that I want to talk about. It says here, freedom, equality, and justice. Now, what part of freedom, equality, and justice does quota system represent? I just want to just ask that simple question. Because you see, if you're telling us that we're all equal, then there should be no quota system. What you should be doing is to harmonize everybody, to give everybody freedom, the equality, and justice. The minute you put in the quota system that impacts everything in your life, education, your access to funds, your access to good roads and infrastructure, everything, then straight away, that idea that you have any freedom, any equality, any justice is rendered useless. Because now that has the very fact of the quota system, which is called an apartheid, it actually is an apartheid system. Let's be real. This is an apartheid system. Right, this is an imposition of apartheid on us.
Right. I mean, we'll talk about apartheid, right?
Yes.
But it talks about justice. Okay, we can talk about justice.
Well.
Okay, let's see who actually is getting justice in Nigeria.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the Fulani herdsmen.
Yeah.
How many of them? Because Bruce Stein, he's the attorney that's working with Nnamdi Kanu, I believe.
Yes.
Made a statement that no Fulani headsman has been prosecuted for the killings that's going on in the Southeast.
We said
no Fulani headsman has been prosecuted for the killing of over 350,000 Christians and other indigenous in the Northeast alone. That has not happened. And in fact, in February of 2019, El Rufai said that, yes, that they were being prosecuted, but the court system was going so slow, which was why we were not seeing the results of the prosecution. And Buhari himself issued a command that the police needed to release this long list of all those Fulani that were being prosecuted. We're still waiting.
It is.
We still haven't seen it. And on top of that, remember, guys, repentance. Everybody becomes repentant because when you're repentant, you get Nigerian money.
Exactly.
Zulum will build you a free ranch, give you free land belonging to other people, right?
Yes.
Using your money for these foreign Fulani. And what's his name? Bala Mohammed made it clear, right? Remember he said in 2019? Oh, we're bringing in foreign because we're bringing all of them into Nigeria. We have to convince them to come to Nigeria and take the money of the indigenous people. Federal government pay 80%, state government pay 20%. We have all this forest. Have you seen the forest that belong to nobody? So we're going to bring all Fulani from around Africa and put them in there, right?
Yeah.
So the ones that they managed to catch, they make them repentant, put them in the Nigerian army. Again, remember, guys, these are not Nigerians.
They're not.
We looked at the fact that Buhari told us that everyone carrying AK-47, he said,
They're not
Nigerians.
Nigerians.
Kenya, Central African Republic, all the other places where the Fulani are causing problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? So justice, equality of justice does not exist in Nigeria. Equality does not exist in Nigeria. Freedom, have you seen what they've been doing to freedom of speech?
Yeah.
For the reporters?
Yeah.
What about freedom of peaceable assembly by the people?
Indeed.
Did they not strike that down? I think it was last year, right?
Yeah.
When especially the Oduduwa, the Yoruba nation, were having those large rallies.
Yeah.
And the rest of the country was getting ready to kick that off, and they immediately used a Southerner to bring up a law, pass it through right quick, no more peaceable assembly. So where is the freedom?
Exactly.
We want to talk about freedom to choose who you want to have as your to serve you.
Yeah.
I mean, we have this delegate system, right?
Mm.
How many of you are selecting these delegates?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
How many of you selected delegates? And then once we get to that delegate stage,
yeah.
Did you guys see the amount of money that was happening?
They're turning. What we have is not it is not a democracy. It isn't.
So that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about next. So let's go to the next part of our presentation, which talks about what is wrong with this constitution. We need to know what's wrong with it, because the world needs to know what's wrong with it. They need to know already that it's Military Decree 24. It is not a constitution, it's a promulgation. They need to know that people did not make it, right?
No,
and
we didn't.
The communications minister, he was clear. He was very clear about it. And it is contrary to the agreement. The agreement was that there would be multinational rolling up into a federal. And what we have is unitary. And a unitary government cannot be a federal government. So let's look at some of the things that's wrong with it. First of all, we talked about this. Who made it, right?
Yeah.
Who made the Constitution? Not the people, right?
Nope.
And we just talked about that. Does it reflect the agreement made at independence?
Zip, no way.
And in fact, if you guys go and do your search, you will find that when Nigeria was being put together and the independence was upon us, there was a conscious effort to make it a multinational country because of the ethnic makeup. It was determined that there could never be a democracy if there was a unitary Nigeria. And yet, within less than 6 years?
Yeah, they turned it around.
They in fact went to, went to unitary Nigeria with the military.
By the back door, by military imposition.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And let quick thing in there. Please, your voice, when we are saying this, every single person listening to us, when we are saying this, please, I want you to take it personal. As a middle belt, as a Yoruba, you need to take this personal. You and your generations are being denied your voice by this imposition. So I'll just say that. So, Jean, carry on.
Absolutely. So, no, I mean, anyone can go ahead, and we are at talking about, does it guarantee benefits to the citizen? Because we talk about in section 2, it's where it talks about citizen benefits. It says we're going to get all these great things. But then in section 1, it says that no one can bring a lawsuit. The court should not hear any lawsuit brought by citizens to enforce their benefits.
Please show that out so that people can see that as well. We'd like to just show that as as a because that is very, very important to
Right.
if we can,
So
or just send me the.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it out. So
Yeah.
I just want you guys to talk about that, because as you
Now,
recall, when we looked at one of the what is a constitution, right? The rights of citizens is important, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Especially in a democratic system, the rights of the citizens, because it is the citizens
Indeed
that determine, they're the ones with the power. But in this constitution, right? In this constitution, it says that you cannot go to court. So let's talk about what that means. Anyone can chime in on that as to what does that really mean, while I get to the specific area. So you guys just
I know I'd like to say something, but I want that if
go ahead.
Okay, now, so listen, straight away right there, you know that when the government says that you're not allowed to take them to court to be able to claim your right as stated within the constitution, you know that is a fraud. That in fact is unlawful. But because the government, that tells you that we are not a democracy. We are nothing more than a military government imposing themselves on us. That they remove your right as a citizen to hold them to account on a document that they did not allow you to have a voice as to whether or not it was going to form a governing document on top that they will be used, to govern you as a people that to whom sovereignty belongs. These are the fundamental issues that many of us are not aware of. So when you stand up and you say you support one Nigeria, you're supporting the oppression of you, your family, your coming generations, because that document is fraudulent. Fraudulent. These are things that many of those politicians who are benefiting from this fraud are unwilling for you to know. They want you to be on your knees. They want you to just continue to accept the lie so that they can continue to profit from that. But time has come for every single Middle Belton, every single Southerner to please wake up. The object of the programs that we're doing, myself and others in various forms, and going back on this key central issue of the fraudulent document, is to awaken you, to awaken your coming generation. We have been denied untold benefits as citizens of that contraption, Nigeria. As in fact, forget Nigeria, as an indigenous person, the resources beneath our feet, we've been denied access to that by way of this fraudulent document that has been imposed upon you and me. So it is incumbent on us to expose this lie, those of you that know, to awaken the others so that we can take the necessary steps to free ourselves. That is the task that each and every one of us must take on without question. Without question. Because now, when a government tells you that you cannot take them to court, they tell you to believe in the document. But when you try and say, look, this is what the document says, they are not telling you you cannot take them to court above it, or on top of that document. That is the fraud. They're persecuting the very people that they are asking to believe in the same document that they impose upon them. And this is the reality that we face. So this central issue, again, please, I want to just talk briefly. You cannot trust a document that tells you that it is a military document, and at the same time that document is telling you that you cannot take them to court to try to exercise your right to hold them to account on the promises they made. That's a fraud right there. And then it forms the foundation. By the way, many of you may not be aware, INEC was brought into life under this fraudulent 1999 constitution. INEC, you had me, the so-called Independent National Electoral Commission, he's been brought into law under this fraudulent constitution. So there is no way any elections can be free or fair in any way, shape, or form. I hope you understand that. It is within this constitution. So these are things that are the injustice interwoven into this constitution, this document. It is so sickeningly fraudulent that I need you to wake up and know that if you remain under this, I believe in one Nigeria, it is a pipe dream. It is a pipe dream. And we need you to wake up. Jean, I can't hear you. Your voice is gone.
I think I wanted to talk about one Nigeria. Okay, so Paul, I don't know if you're able to talk today, but let's get Noah. Noah,
go ahead.
When they say or Paul, when they say one Nigeria, let's break that down. Because our young people and other people don't understand what one Nigeria is. They're thinking that one Nigeria, right, is a federal government. So we need to break it down for them. So Noah, are you able to chat, or did I lose Noah? It looks like I lose him. Paul, are you able to talk? Or are you muted out? Stephen, why don't you break down for our audience what one Nigeria really is, as opposed to what they think it is?
I don't, Gene. I think he's talking to somebody. I'm not quite sure.
He might be. So let me go ahead and break down what one Nigeria is.
Right. Yeah.
One Nigeria was never meant to be unitary, is what we talked about. So one Nigeria, they're referring to the shell, right? They're referring to that shell that is one Nigeria. But one Nigeria, the shell, was supposed to have nations inside of it. And that's the picture you see behind me in the pig. Those are nations. The Western region is the Western nation, a sovereign nation. And we talked about this a few weeks ago. It's a sovereign nation that had its own leader, its premier, it had its own election system, it controlled its own assets and contributed a bit to the central government, right? They had their own coat of arms separate from the Nigeria coat of arms, right? Their flag was different because in their flag, they had their coat of arms, right? And the decisions, they made the decisions for their people without interference from the federal government. That's the real one Nigeria, where it is a small center. Federal government of Nigeria has swallowed the nations.
Yeah.
And so that unitary system cannot be one Nigeria. It's actually a very divided Nigeria, because it's now taking on a model that has been shown will not lead to democracy. And then we can talk about, democracy and what the Constitution does with regards to democracy. But one Nigeria, as people talk about it, is not really what they think it is.
Yeah.
It's something completely different.
So going back to the central session of the Constitution and the bit, all of this bit that you see sometimes we're going veering a little bit to bring it back into the center, which is the central focus, which is to ensure that we all, without doubt, understand categorically and 100% certain that what you're calling a constitution is a fraudulent document, one in which we, the people, played no part. We played zero part in. And we cannot be lied to now hoodwink us to believe in a document in which we played no part. And our job is to enlighten you, to empower you to speak up, to go to those people who are telling you to vote, that you cannot vote. You no longer wish to vote on a fraudulent document.
Right.
Because
and let's talk about
if
this Constitution supports democracy, where the citizens select who they want to rule them. Balade, what have you been seeing in the elections today?
Exactly.
What are we seeing? Are the people selecting? Are the people selecting, or what's the shenanigans that's going on in PDP and currently going on in APC that we're watching unfold? You need to unmute, Balade.
Unmute. You have to unmute. Let me ask you to
unmute. You need
unmute.
to unmute, Balade, so that we
unmute yourself. We cannot hear you.
So can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, tell us, are the people selecting
from what I'm
who they
seeing,
want to rule themselves?
the people are not selecting who they want, because first of all, they price them out, saying, well, if you want to stand for election as the president of Nigeria, you've got to bring
100
million
naira.
100 million naira.
Then that is another fraud. Because when you say, okay, I want to go for the presidency, basically, if you now withdraw down the line, you get some interest paid back on your money. So basically, all of us should have just said, well, we want to run for the president and get an interest back on our money then it's okay. But then certain people who should have been disqualified because they stole money are now eligible to stand for the presidency. Whereas under Sharia law, which they've killed people for doing nothing, these people should have been killed. If that Sharia law should be believed, they should have killed all these people.
Let me give you guys the number. 100 million is about 175 to 180 $1,000.
Yeah.
What young person is going to have that? And this is just the application, right? So because you know that's the application. Then to buy delegates.
Oh, another one. They stole the money anyway. They stole the money from the coffers anyway.
I wish I had that picture now that talked about.
They stole the money from the coffers anyway.
Exactly.
So that's the money they're going to spend.
Steal the money from the people.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they now want
the people.
Yeah.
To keep the people that
keep the people
stole the money so that they can steal some more.
Then when they get in, the first thing they do is say, "Oh, how much did this thing cost me? I'm going to steal all that anyway." Then I don't care about all those people that voted for me. I gave them rice, I gave them beans, I gave them that at the time, but that's about it.
Yeah, it is.
I don't get it.
Let me
so
just.
They spend 2,000 to maybe.
Oh, your network is going.
Naira.
You're breaking up.
The amount that the governors and the senators make in
a month.
Yeah.
A month.
I think I've shown this over and over, how the political elite are eating, just them alone are eating over 70%. It's 70 to over 82%, 70 to 82% of the money that is coming out of Nigeria. One that we have 100 million Nigerians living in poverty. What is 10,000 in 4 years going to do to for a family? Because that's all they're getting, right? That is how is that going to benefit them for 4 years? Then they come out again after they've stolen some more, right? And the way that where we are now, I saw this warning from the IMF this month. Debt servicing is soon going to take 100% of the money coming out of Nigeria.
Wow.
Who is using this money? Did you guys see it on the roads? Have you seen it on the roads? Where have you seen this money that they've been borrowing? I mean, Buhari has gone wild with borrowing money. Where is it? Where is it? We hear that who is it that they talked about stole 80 billion? Was that?
That's the accountant general. The accountant general.
Yeah.
I guess he just didn't know how to count, right? I mean, 80 billion. What about Okorocha, who they did all of that show of force with coming in through his roof?
Or whatever.
I'm sorry. How do you come in through a roof when there's a perfectly good palatial door that you can kick down?
Yeah.
How do you come through the roof?
They wanted to make sure they got him.
But while you're coming through the roof, the man would have run away through the door now.
Yeah, well.
What are you talking about? He ran out to the back door, front door. I don't know why he was on the floor praying for God to come and help him. When he did not help any of the starving children that he's taking money from, right? I saw one video of him. He was swearing.
Yes.
He's richer than the government. He's richer than the government. What does that tell you? 100 million in poverty so that the political elite, who are supposed to be just mere managers, can have private planes, right? Have you seen their homes in Nigeria?
Yeah.
They have all kinds of things, like cars. Have you seen the cars? Their garage alone houses how many cars? What, 8, 9, 10? Lambos, Rolls Royces, right? So where is that money coming from? It's out of children's mouths, right? So it does not support democracy because the citizens are not the ones who are selecting. The political class is still selecting, right? Now let's talk about Can this constitution, we're talking about democracy, can someone from the Southwest run for presidency, actually get nominated to be in PDP and APC if they are not a caliphate stooge? I have to put that caveat. Can they get to that nomination in PDP or APC? Anyone can answer. It's a question. It's a real question. Can a Southwest, Southeast, South, middle belt person get the nod for the nomination?
No. Okay, Noah says no.
The answer is 100%, 99% no.
Yes, that is
yes,
correct.
because under the leadership of Nnamdi, everything has been investigated. Because
well, you know, Ninas and Movement for New Nigeria yeah. Yes, Ninas and Movement for New Nigeria has been, you know, sharing this information for a long time, since 1999.
Yeah,
okay.
Indeed.
This information has been being shared by Nina since 1999. They're the ones that put this on the public space and has been shepherding this information to let people understand, and which is why one of the plan is no 2023 election, because that election revalidates the constitution that was where we had the constitutional force majeure December 2020. Okay, so this has been clearly, if you want to go to and the Citizen AY, I had sent you some information that talked to, you know, the specific this was a while ago though, maybe a couple of weeks ago, that talked to the specific areas in the Constitution that makes it impossible, right? And so let's go back in the day. Let's talk about the fact that, and then we're going to need to just move on and talk about the regions, so that we can now ask the question as to why this isn't being acknowledged. But in the Constitution, because of how the you know, the delegates and the number of senators and the number of the House of Representatives has been stacked.
So the movement of
back in 1960
and Sokoto.
Hold on, we cannot hear you. Your line goes Noah.
In and out. Noah, you're going
in and out. You're going in and out. But okay,
am I back now?
Yeah, I think you are. Okay. What would you like to say? Go ahead.
So what I'm trying to say is they have perfectly, I was saying this like 4 or 5 years ago, like this, the levels in which they are taking the country is just to always, there's what is called two bad option. Somebody will come to you as a nice guy. Oh, I want to give you this option. Then they give you two bad options. They did that in 2014. Tinubu and all of us did not see it. They give us Buhari and Atiku. Two of them Fulani, two of them from Sokoto Caliphate, two of them from the Kaaba, two of them being approved by the British. If you look at that pyramid, that is how it has been working. Obasanjo is part of them.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Obasanjo is part of the caliphate. Let's just put that out there. And he stole just as much as Atiku. So let him not be out there saying, oh, Atiku stole so much money.
Yes. Now, if you try to beat that, now they will now make it difficult for you to be able to afford it. In what way? They will make it expensive at the state or Senate and the federal level. Even if you have the money at the federal level, you will not be able to have enough money in the 36 states. That's where they beat out any party that is just growing up, and they lock the status at the top. It is very, very technical, and it's not even difficult to observe. But I don't have issue with them. The issue I have is my people just listen. When our people listen and we cooperate and we speak with one voice, it becomes a movement. When it becomes a movement, we enact, we speak, we become like God, we get whatever we want. These people are not even my problem. This is my own people. Like, well, now that we have gotten the 5 million votes, it shows that we are getting there. So that's it.
Okay, so let's just kind of run through. You know, the rest of it, and then we'll talk about why isn't the world talking about this, right? So let's just talk through some of the stuff, because there's a few other things that are interesting here. Because one of the things too, it does not support equity and justice. We talked about that. Does it support a secular country? I want us to talk about this for a few minutes. Stephen, are you back with us? Does
Yes,
the Constitution support a secular country, or is Islam mentioned in the Constitution over 100 times? I'm just saying. So does it support a secular country? And let's talk about Sharia. Stephen, did you want to talk about that?
Yes. The Constitution actually supports a secular nation, religiously independent. But then, because the Constitution was not made for them, it was designed to oppress us. So it did not bother them to go against the Constitution by independently establishing 12 consortium of Sharia states. See, there are only 3 citizens in in the contraption called Nigeria. The Fulanis.
So, but should Islam be mentioned in the Constitution, because it is mentioned a lot?
It is. It shouldn't be. It should.
No.
And this isn't a Christian and Muslim war, guys. Let's make it clear. What's going on in Nigeria is radical. We're talking Afghanistan type radical. Okay, let's be clear so the world understands. Fulani, Afghanistan type radical, starting with Ottoman Dan Fodio, that came to Nigeria in the 18th century AD, right? It's radical Islam that is different from your normal Muslims. That's not who we're talking about here, guys. We're talking about these people. And I see Balade has raised his hand, right? So it's not about Christians and Muslims, no. Because we're united, Christians and moderate Muslims, regular Muslims, saying, what the heck? We don't want to turn our country into Afghanistan. We don't want to turn our country into a place where they're destroying everything that people have built, right? Go ahead, Balade.
A time I started reading Constitution after my cousin sent it to me. I now said about Sharia courts, although it did counterbalance by saying customary courts. But I thought the customary court should be there anyway, because that's where we came from anyway. But they now mention Sharia court. Wait a minute, I thought Sharia doesn't even run Nigeria. It's not even supposed to be mentioned in the. If we are a secular nation, we shouldn't say we recognize Sharia courts, because the customary courts were in. That's customary law that we had, not a religious body. But Sharia comes from Islam, and you're now putting that Sharia in the constitution that governs Nigeria. So that means everybody.
That's Obasanjo's legacy, people.
Exactly.
He's the one. So when we tell you that Obasanjo is not for the indigenous Nigerian, you guys need to trace a lot of things back to him. There was a reason he was put in there.
That means,
let them have
that means that we are under Sharia law, whether we like it or not.
Right.
They don't have to say it no more.
What about Nigerian citizens who are living in those 12 contiguous states? We just saw a Christian girl, a young student, killed instantly by those that said that allegedly defamed the prophet. How can you bring that into a secular country?
Could I say something?
And Buhari apparently said, that we all need to respect. I'm like, wait a minute, honey. Do you know that fraudulent constitution says that we are secular? It means no Sharia in the 12 states. That means by putting Sharia in, they have seceded from Nigeria. The far north 12 states, by putting in Sharia, have seceded from Nigeria. And are we telling the foreign people this? The world? Do they know?
This thing almost happened to me, right? I was naive. I was up in Bauchi at the time. I think it was 83, sorry. Okay. I was studying. So sometimes we go to the common room to watch some programs. So this day, there was a lot of people in there wondering, why are they there? This guy speaking Hausa on the TV. I don't speak Hausa. I said, excuse me, turn the TV over, turn it back. Oh my God. All hell broke loose on me. And I'd walked out anyway. So somebody came to meet me, brought up to me and said, why do you do that? Blah, 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 blah. Then he said, are you not Muslim? I said, yeah. He said, but then you should be both. I said, but I don't understand your language. And I don't understand the guy on TV anyway. So he became my friend. He became my friend. And I got to know that. Then my dad told me when I got back to Lagos, he said, the reason why you never got anywhere when you were up north is because you wouldn't take their ways. I said, Dad, I found these people backward in every way. There, that's the icing on the cake.
Please,
and that came.
Good afternoon. I thanks for that anecdote and for bringing that to your attention. And what we should do is really reiterate this. And let me just take this opportunity to say at this point, as we speak today, right now, they have killed another person in Abuja today over blasphemy. A vigilante, somebody so-called a vigilante, has been killed. In Mobosao, they killed a member of a vigilance group for reportedly making a blasphemous statement.
Allegedly, right?
Allegedly. It was gathered that the members of the vigilance group guarding Timber Shed Market at Federal Housing Estate, Abuja, had wanted to arrest some residents wandering around the market in early hours of Friday. The residents were said to have begged the vigilance group to free him in the name of Allah, but one of the vigilantes kicked and made comments said to be blasphemous. Again, there is nothing in the Quran that says that you should kill anybody for making any statement about any religion. Nothing.
No.
But you can see that the government, the people who are doing this, they are targeting those vigilante groups. The reason that why this man was really killed was vigilante group, but they're using blasphemy as a cover. That's what I'm trying to say. So in the middle of what we're saying here, it's important that we understand that our people have got to wake up. Every time you're moving around, as a Christian, as a Southerner, what they want is to take your land. Quran, blasphemy is a cover. Their ultimate agenda is to take your land. If it means taking the lives of the people who are non-Fulanese, so be it. And these are the things that we have really got to emphasize to our people. The Constitution and everything, they've written it in it's supposed to be a secular nation. But as we are talking about is the danger of what I'm really trying to get at here is that we have to empower people to wake up now. And that's why we are coming out on this call, these discussions, to really make sure you know that Constitution is not a document you can rely on. What you can rely on is the sovereignty of the people to confront this Constitution and bring it down. Because under that Constitution, you see that it's slotted in secretly, quietly, Sharia law under and that shouldn't be. Section 10 says that no religion should be state religion. There is no religion should be allowed to be state religion. Section 10. Absolutely. At the same time, they're mentioning Sharia law and they're putting Islam. So this tells you that we cannot trust that Constitution.
So let's move on to ask the question: why has the world not acknowledged, right, the fraudulency of this Constitution? We've given lots of reasons why it's fraudulent. Why isn't the world not acknowledging it? And this, my friends, have a lot to do with ourselves. So let's talk about it. Why are they not acknowledging it?
Let's hear from everybody, please.
Yes, everyone, please.
Let's
chime in. Ruby,
yeah.
Why do you think that the world is not acknowledging the fraudulency of the Constitution? If you have a thought, go ahead and let us know why you think that.
Yeah, right from the beginning, the colonizers, let me use Europe, Britain to be specific. So maybe in one way or the other, they have something they're getting from. So separating, when these people realize, like Nigeria, when Nigeria realizes that, yes, this is who we are.
Oh,
you're breaking.
Okay,
breaking up.
Yeah, he's breaking up.
Network.
Yeah.
Network too bad.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you back?
Yeah. No, not yet. Bolade, go ahead. Why Is the world not acknowledging this and doing
Well,
something
the
about
world is not acknowledging it because let's go back to what was said in 1914, the marriage of the poor North to the lady of means of the South.
Yeah.
Right. Remember I said about that pyramid, who's at that pyramid is the British government and the crown. Now they get something from Nigeria big time. Our resources, they've got their eyes on it big time. We
saw gold bullion being flown out of the Yoruba.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know. We cannot go and say, oh, there's our resources. How much is it? Where's it going? We can't know that. They know all that. They want all that. So it doesn't pay them to antagonize any of the government we got on the ground, which answers them anyway. So they're not going to antagonize them, because I couldn't believe this. When Buhari just got elected, I'm watching something that says G20, I think it was G20. And they said, Liberian president said, no, that's Buhari. I'll know him anywhere in the world. What was he doing there at that time? Because they're all tied into all these things. So even us being in debt doesn't really mean we're in debt. They just want control of Nigeria, period. So they can say to us, right, you're doing this, you're doing that. Buhari doesn't have to tell us jack shit. He just does what they want. And the next press idiot, if I'm allowed to say that, is going to do even worse if we let this thing continue.
Okay, so what I'm gathering from what you're saying is that they are benefiting from Nigeria.
Yeah.
And we have seen that, right? We've been talking about this because people need to know how France was taking, I think it's 75% of the money from the Francophone country.
Still doing.
Oh, yeah. Still doing.
And then loading it back to them at exorbitant interest and turning around and telling them that they
need
are
to
not
get that
managing
together.
their resources. Can somebody help me with this, please?
Well, you know what is interesting? The French, they believe so much in this. The people, the very people that they are asking to that they're taking their money. The 14 countries, they're making sure that they are very, very religious. The religion of is of immense importance. And in fact, when the church, when Notre Dame Church burned, several of the African countries gave money. The presidents gave money to rebuild. As part of Notre Dame, the church that burned down, and yet without and like you state, these countries are their money, their GDP is taken from them. And France says, I will manage it for you. And if you want some of your money, you take it back. You have to take a loan on your own money.
Exorbitant interest, because we remember Americana,
she exposed this.
Why don't they know this? Might it have something to do with the fact that our history has been buried?
Yes, that's got another thing with that, because I don't think we learned history. Whatever history we're learning was a load of rubbish anyway.
Brainwashing.
Exactly.
Brainwashing.
I remember. Can we really then blame a lot of? We can blame Britain because Britain knows what's going on, right? Britain will put this in place so they know. Catriona Liang, you know what's going on, okay? But you want to be queen of Nigeria, right?
Could I say something?
Exerting that influence. So we can hold responsible. The Queen of England, we can hold responsible, right? Because they know the UK Parliament, the House of Lords, we can hold them responsible. But what about other countries? Do they have the time to be going into our detail? Or do we, the indigenous people, have a responsibility?
Could I just say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Does somebody know the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations?
Yeah, Ahmed.
She's Fulani, and she's going to be Nigerian
everywhere.
And there's another
ambassadors.
There's another one out there, big time, that they're all up there. Then we've got the other lady that's the financial from the IMF. She's up there as well.
Iwela. You're talking about Iwela.
Yeah.
But she's not Hausa, she's Igbo.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying she's
Oh, okay.
Nigerian, basically.
Yeah.
But you see, so somewhere they know Nigeria is an important kind of country. That's why Nigeria is punching again above its weight in certain places. We told the United Nations one time, we said, look, we're not asking you that we want to be on security. We're telling you want to be on that. So basically, we can kick above our weight when we want to, but they're not going to let that happen. They're going to let it happen that, we are controlling you, basically, and you got to take those controls. But the people down there, they don't care, and you don't tell them. So we the people, we know nothing. We're the last to know.
So that's why it's important. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes there's some people that you can hold responsible. And really, you can hold the world responsible because they have intelligence. Every major country, the US included, Germany, Russia, China, all of them have intelligence. So they know what's up, right? They know what's up. But having said that, if we the people, and if those of us in the diaspora are not speaking up and making sure that we are in the front pages of the world newspapers, this will continue.
Yep.
I think
will continue. If those who are aggrieved are not speaking up in a real way. Go ahead, Citizen AY.
I think that's a very, very, very valid point that you raised there. What we need to do is a twofold. It's in twofold. The one thing is to ensure that we in diaspora, wherever we can, we get this to the media. Now we know that there are certain media that are deliberately turning a blind eye to what is being done.
Yeah.
And they make
That's the other reason,
because
the international media,
because
and
they
the quote
actually,
unquote investigative journalism, what that
exactly.
none is happening.
Exactly. And one of the things that I've tried to do is I've been in touch in certain key areas within so one or two contacts with one or two of this media. They had the opportunity to actually do this expose, and they actually just said, oh, because of this, oh, because of that, oh, because, and it's watered down, and then it's all designed to ensure that any steam that we might gathering momentum that might come to actually force them to put this out and have to discuss that is actually dissipated. Now, we
have a way around it, right, Citizen AY?
Yeah.
That Nigerians in diaspora send money to Nigeria, pretty much almost the same as the money that Nigeria raises.
Yeah.
Why are we not friggin' buying the whole friggin', like
Wall
Street Journal?
I think
front
what we need
page, to put our information on the BBC, 2-minute video as a commercial on our information. The German newspaper, the Israeli newspaper, the Netherlands, France, Canada.
I agree. I agree with a lot of that. But the funds, one of the things I've looked at that we really have to really address in this situation is that if you're going to restrict somebody, you don't have to restrict them by saying no. You simply have to up the price at which whatever they want is put out there. That's all you are doing. So you're not telling them no, but if it's going to be difficult for you to get that information out, and in terms of financial impact, then it becomes restrictive. Now, what we have to be doing is inventive among ourselves to make sure that we now have a media, and it's important. This is the point I'm about to make now, is something that we need to look at. We have to make sure that the media that we're using is reflecting our own views. That way, that message can be undiluted to our people. That is a lot of work we need to do ourselves. That means that increasingly we need to have media spaces that is going to be only whoever's mute.
Okay, mute. Sorry, I think I'm gonna mute him. Okay.
Now, however we get to doing this, and I'm not for 1 minute saying that we should forget trying to get into the main media and get the stuff out there.
We should. At this point in time, we don't have much time. We need to.
But what we need to do is to make sure that whatever media that is building up within our own spaces, we can galvanize it to get that message. Because one of the things that I'm realizing is that our communities are tuning in more and more to our own media. And many of us are not aware of that. And that is a key area that we can exploit. But it requires organization to get that in place. But of course, like I said, so building what you say, a brilliant world would be whereby we could say, okay, fine. We in diaspora, we collect our money and we hit BBC, we hit ITV, we hit Al Jazeera, we hit DW,
Al Jazeera English, right?
Everything. We hit
right,
it,
but we also
them,
need to be hitting the news in Nigeria, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Because when it hits the main newspapers, right, in Nigeria, the world is going to pick it up. Arise is going to pick it up. Channel, Heritage TV, right?
Now, the one with Nigeria, I'll say this to you now. They will never carry any news that we pay them to do because they will ultimately be picked up.
Actually, we have been doing that, so we can do that successfully.
Can you put it on channels? Have you got stuff on channels?
Yeah, we've had things on channels. Remember we had Onga on Arise, the rally. It was on channels. It was on Arise. It was on BBC.
Okay, then let's try and do more.
We know how to do that.
We can do more of that, but I still think that ultimately ourselves having our ultimate goal would be to be able to rely more and more on our own media that we are in control of. Because remember, when somebody
there's no question. However, when you do make your own commercial to go on ABC News during the news, and they go cut the commercial, here comes your commercial, right?
Yeah.
During the news time, and it says, stop the genocide in Nigeria, right? The indigenous people are being killed by the migrant Fulanis, supported by the British, and they were like, where do you have that information? Oh, well, let me show you, right? Because we can support it. What we're talking about, these are just facts. The International Criminal Court are the ones that said that the Nigerian government have committed crimes that rises to the level of war crimes, acts against humanity. It's the International Criminal Court. It is the UN that said that 350,000, not the 35,000 they were talking about before, have been killed in the Northeast alone. They're the ones that also have the figures of now over 5 million that the Fulani and their friends, the other terrorists, have displaced, mainly from the Middle Belt, right? That's over 5 million people. The refugees, it's in the news. The governors went to where they were in other countries. Right now, there are over 400,000 of them. These are facts. It's not stuff that we are making up. These are independent facts. Amnesty International has got their numbers, right?
Yeah.
The Genocide Watch are tracking these numbers. The number of people who are being starved to death, tracking those numbers, right? Right now, over 9 million are on the verge of starving to death in Nigeria, while 100 million is being used for an application form to be president. Right? And the federal government, get this, spent 5.9 billion naira to train less than 120 people, young people in the north, to fix phones. 5.9 billion into 120. All of them will be able to go to Harvard and Oxford, go to both, and still have lots of money left over. This is what's going on in Nigeria. These are facts, hard facts. The federal government released those numbers, 5.9 billion. And what do we say? What has indigenous Nigerians said? What about Antonio Guterres? That says, oh, I endorse having the insurgents. But does he know that these insurgents are not Nigerians? Buhari told them that in 2021. Buhari said these people carrying AK-47s are from Mauritania, and Antonio Guterres in 2022 said, oh, I endorse them being incorporated into Nigeria. These are criminals. They're terrorists. They're not Nigerians. Bala Mohammed told them, we are bringing them in from everywhere in Africa because they are citizens of Nigeria. you know? And so we're
Yeah.
going to give them ranches,
Yeah.
right? What did we say?
Yeah.
They released the news, like, was it a couple of weeks ago?
Mhm.
The federal government is going to build 119 ranches in the Middle Belt, in Benue, where the people have been killing, slaughtering people. What did we say?
I think one of the things that we have to do here, and it's what we're doing now, is please, everybody watching this, whether be it Yoruba, be it Middle Belt, be it Igbo, please, our messages back home to our people is of immense importance, so that those communities begin to empower themselves. I think I've done something now, and I think we could probably all do it. I have actually engaged our people. I've translated, for example, the promulgation decree to Yoruba. I did a program about this during the week, and I'm going to share it with you. I think I shared it with you, Jane. I think I sent it to you, and it was in Yoruba, and I did like a presentation about that. And in there, it explained how it is impacting our people, you know, on ground. Because what we need is our people on ground have got to be part of this process. If we are doing it for them and saying, this is what you should know, but we're trying to not only make them know, but to empower them to now know how they can say, no, look, this is what this constitution is doing to us. We are now going to use as a basis in which we can take the action of vigilante groups in our communities. Because what is happening now is that, unfortunately, in our communities in the Middle Belt and the South, we are literally sitting ducks, because we are still believing in it. We are all still, the people are believing in a document that doesn't protect them. And by the time they realize it, it is too late. So this is very important message. If you're watching this, what Jean is saying is absolutely right. We are being slaughtered in our own land. What is making things worse is also on the basis of this fraudulent constitution. So we have got to energize everybody watching us now. Please share this broadcast. Make your people know. If you can do the promulgation decree number 24 of 1999, the fraud, in your language, in Benue language, in Igbo language, translate it. I'm doing that in Yoruba, and I'll be sharing that again. This is because our people need a reason to know why, to understand why they have to reject this constitution. That is the reason that we're trying to give, as we're doing broadcasts like such as we're doing tonight, to make people know why they must reject this constitution. That is the only way, you know. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so what I want us all to do in all of this is, right now, in the end, the people themselves, our people on ground, have to be, they are central to this process. Very central. Of course, the work we are doing.
Mobilization.
Yes, we can talk. We can, you know, yes, this is raising the awareness is good here, but we also need those on literally in the towns, in the villages, in the communities.
Ground zero. We need to be ground zero.
Because we are as much as it is frustrating me, and when I see 2 million displaced in Tivland, and Ahmed Wase will not allow Mark Miller to table the motion about the displacement of his people in their land. That is the clearest indication that we don't have one Nigeria.
Now we have apartheid Nigeria.
It's apartheid.
It's apartheid. I mean, that's what we're talking about. The Constitution is put together in a way that it is apartheid.
Yeah. So please, I just wanted to just interject there a little bit to make sure that what we're saying here, it means it requires us all collectively as Middle Beltans and the whole of the South, Middle West, Southwest, whatever you want to call yourself, Middle Belt and South, Southwest, Southeast, South, whatever you want to call yourself in those areas, to take collective action. And time is really short.
Yes.
It is short.
Yes.
So, and I also, if we can, those who are able to facilitate the publication of news media, if that's the case, and you can do that in diaspora, please don't wait.
Every little newspaper that is in the Southeast, the South, the Southwest, and the Middle Belt, we need to support them. We need to see that they are pumping out enough copies that people will be able to see it, even if they have to give it out for free, right?
Yeah.
So these are things that we have to do. Our voices are too low. So Bolade, go ahead.
Great.
You need to unmute, Balade.
Unmute.
And then after that, it will be Noah.
Yeah.
Go ahead now, Balade.
We can't hear you now.
You need to unmute.
Yeah, no.
Okay, yeah, I've just unmuted it. Yeah, I'm just going to say what the other said. I think the other day, there's a young lady, she does a thing called Just Keeping It Real. And she was saying that, I know these people have been disposed from their land, and then somebody said, okay, we want to tender a petition in the Senate, I think it was.
Yeah,
and
Magbira.
they were from America. That they said, and they said, oh, they cannot tender it because they're not here. They don't live in this country. But their relatives, their families have been killed and thrown off their land, and it was an ongoing thing. And you said it can't be talked about.
Yeah.
I felt you don't even have human compassion. Why don't you say, oh, this is serious, we're going to talk about it, but we'll talk about it later on? No, we're not talking about it. That's what they said. But they got showed up on that, I think, and I think they had to talk about it later on. But
they're not. The thing is, that's the thing. They didn't allow, they're not, they have never tabled it. And that is the fund. Look, when you say you are a Nigerian, when you say that, I'm sorry to interject here, my brother.
Go ahead.
But I wanted to just quickly say that, you see, when you say that you're a Nigerian, the minute that your concerns are not tabled on the floor of the House of Representatives as a citizen, then you are a second-class citizen.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the reality.
You're a slave, actually.
Yes,
Let's just call it what it is.
Yes.
We're a slave in our own country, on our own land.
Yeah.
Our own land.
So please, I urge you all. But I'll let you carry on. Let me continue.
Yeah, then there was the case. Does anybody know? You know, our parliamentarians, they're the highest paid in the world, but they do nothing. That's another one. That's another one that should be addressed. Well,
the what? Sorry?
The parliamentarians, the Senate and the House of Assembly, the reps, all of them.
They are the political elite, my dear.
They are the political elite, but
they have been bought. They have been bought. You just saw the Southeast delegates being bought.
Yes, we saw that. Yeah, we saw all that.
And we saw them. We saw the videos of them and the pictures of them with the dollars. They're counting.
Yeah.
They're sitting.
They know no
going to the highest bidder. In this case, Atiku.
Yeah, they know no shame. They know no shame.
And when you look at it, everyone was saying, everyone's like, now, oh wow, the Southeast, they pitched in for Atiku, right?
Yeah.
How much money were they given?
Yeah,
I am not in any way, shape, or form saying that any delegate, and we know them, I'm not saying anything should happen to them, but this is continually. You see it in the Southwest, in the South, in the Southeast, in the Middle Belt. You have this few that want to feed themselves and have, cars and have this and that, while 100 million are starving to death by this Fulani apartheid in Nigeria. Yes, it is a Fulani apartheid. And
but they do.
I've heard the people in the UK say, oh, it can't be apartheid because the Fulanis are not foreign. Excuse you. This is what I'm trying to say, guys. They feign ignorance or are actually ignorant. That's why we had the series, the Fulanis. There's no such thing as Hausa Fulani. That's a cover.
No.
There's no tribe called Hausa Fulani. None. Okay? The Fulani are migrants. They're invading migrants because Ottoman Danfodio came with jihad and tried to conquer all of Nigeria. And now his descendants are having much success because we put one of them in our government and Britain helped them to take over all of our revenue. And we've shown this graph before. Every revenue producing or spending area is headed by Fulani. We have been conquered economically already by the Fulani, the migrant Fulani who are not ancestral indigenes of Nigeria. If that is not going to wake up our people, I don't know what's it, because our people say, oh, well, they are northerners. No, they're invaders. And you see them in Chad, you see them in Mali, you've seen them in Ghana, in Benin. They've been
Cameroon?
invading West Africa. This small group of people. And what are we talking about, diaspora Nigerians? When is the fire going to be lit in your belly so that you do the needful to save the people? 100 million in poverty. Let's go to Noah, and then we'll come back to you, Balade. Noah, are you still with us? I know we've been having issues with people being able to stay for time. Are you still okay?
Yeah,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here. My thing is during the way we are pushing now. I know we are pushing
much harder. Yes, much harder, but still not hard enough. Yeah.
But in marketing, I mean in business, if you are making progress, you should be able to tick your progress, identify your progress, and disallow retrogressing. Like hold on to your progress. The way the atmosphere is in Nigeria right now, how we want us to hold on to where we are right now, hold on to our unity, the team, whatever we have been doing that is working, concentrate on it. Like we shouldn't lose the grip. And this is very, very important.
Absolutely.
Because in any project that you're doing, if you slack a little bit or you sleep or slack or like move back or stuff like that for days or for numbers of period of time, if you try to come back, it will look as if you are starting all over again, and we can't afford that. And being in the far front, that will help the whole team for we to be able to motivate them. Like, okay, we are good leaders and we are doing what we're supposed to do. Where am I coming from? The way everything is going right now, Nigerian political structure will be destroyed from the inside. We don't want to be part of that. For example, the way they were running their APC and the way Buhari is going to treat Tinubu and all of them, mark my words, these guys will be destroyed from the inside. By that time, we have to hold back, move back a little bit, and watch them being destroyed. When they're being destroyed, we will continue our own homework underground, because war is strategic. If you are not strategic in war, you want to be in the war front every time, you will be bombed out. And what I'm saying now is very, very important. Where am I taking my message to? The transition process of the exit from Nigeria. We must be gallant on it. Like our hand must be on deck. Like when the particular time, the next moves that we're supposed to move, we just make the move, boom, boom, then we come out, we retract again. Because what happened the time of our Sunday, we don't want that to happen again. Look at how much that pushed us back. We just have to focus on how to bring him out of where he is or wherever. And all that can happen over again. The same thing with Kano that is there. You know, we need to be very, very strategic in our moves. This might be like a single little point, but that is the major key. What am I saying? Look at it this way. We've gotten our 5 million votes, like the Yoruba section. We work with
signatures.
The Igbo people too.
5 million signatures to
yes, we work with the Igbo people too and stuff like that. These people are very calculative. You know, they have the money. There's what is called structure, which is the same thing they're using in the political atmosphere. Like you're gonna have your regional or member candidate, those people that stay in the polling booth. We're gonna need the same type of structure too. We don't want them to manipulate us and be like, oh, now because Tinubu, all of them can do it. They can be like, oh, now we're going to do something about the hex or the structure or the whatever. Now they're going to put the money because they already have the structure. We don't want them to bamboozle us. Mark my words, they will attempt this thing that I'm saying to you. I meditate on it. If you think it's not going to happen, watch. These guys are very, very calculative, intelligent, and they have the money. Look at what they did in 1900.
They have all of Nigeria money. So, of course, they have the money.
Look, go and watch YouTube. All the evidence that we have or regards or NSAS that was on YouTube is out. They pull it down. These guys are so structured to the extent that they were now putting even lies in the book of the history, including Wikipedia. These are the people that we're dealing with. They are extremely smart, only if we want to deceive ourselves. So we need to identify whom we are dealing with, match up to their power, then we now learn how to beat them.
Now we are beating them, I'm telling you, because they are
Okay, guys,
distracted.
we're coming to rounding up. So if you can round up, Noah.
So
You know,
that's it.
because again, the thing that we're talking about today is just why are they not acknowledging the fraudulency of the 1999 Constitution and the legitimacy of the regions, which are nations, right? That those nations are nations. So if we're saying that there are people who are stopping the news from getting out, who are not carrying the news, then it behoves us. It behoves us to see that they stop and listen. And that comes from bombarding the airwaves.
Yeah.
That comes from putting our money where our mouth is. That comes from being on the ground and mobilizing our people, using our own money to print those pamphlets and have them distributed. So they know who is who. They know what's going on because it has been denied. History has been hidden. So these are things that we must do, and especially those in the diaspora that have a little more spendable cash that would actually make a difference. So this is a clarion call to everyone in the diaspora that is not in Nigeria, and especially those in more affluent continents and countries. You are going to need to do something to change the narrative and to see that action is actually taken, that the UN, whose job it is to protect the indigenous nations, would now rise up and work to restore those nations through a referendum. And I'd like to be able to, I just want to talk a little bit about Clifford and his response to Abdul Salam, because he made some, he was trying to make some clarity, right? He was making some clarity that Ninas is not demanding a transitioning body, right? It's not demanding an interim government, sorry, but a transitioning body, like was done in South Africa, where the regular government was doing its thing, and CODESA came alongside to do the referendum and then to transition that government, into a new government. That's what we're calling for. And they're estimating that it should take about 6 months to a year for that to be done. So really, we can get that done before the elections even come on board, but we got to be able to push for it. And this is where we need those in the diaspora, just like the Jewish diasporans put Israel where it is. The Nigerian diasporans are being called to do same. Okay, being called upon to do same. Okay, so we're getting ready to round up now in another meeting. Bolade, what did you want to talk
Yeah,
about?
I was going to say two things. You say, be on this news front. We can push it, but the big news outlets out there, they might not take it on board. I saw something.
We pay for it, and we can put what we want.
I saw something the BBC did. The BBC were talking about the East, the situation in the East, and they totally misrepresented it. Because from what I was hearing from the Nigerian stations, that was not what the Nigerians were saying anyway. And
which is why we need to put our own,
what they were saying,
space on the BBC and put our own information.
Right. So basically, they talk about influencers and that they were doing after the world.
We gotta be out there, guys, debunking all this false narrative.
So the
BBC
other thing
is an enemy of the indigenes of Nigeria.
The other thing I wanted to say was about, there was this thing that happened, I think it was sometime last year or year before. They had the court case about the VAT, where the judge now said, okay, you know what? Every state that is generating its VAT, let it go and spend its VAT the way it wants, and then the rest they can give to the federal later on. Now, the other northern states now came out and said, if that be the case, we are going to starve. And somebody said, if you're not doing anything, making anything, and you're going to starve, it's not for us to carry you.
How are they going to starve, Holiday? They're on top of the NMPC. They're on top of every revenue generated. Why are they not using the money there?
And Abbas just said he told the people that have got the oil, he said they've got to understand that the oil is not theirs. I don't understand that kind of thinking.
I don't want to talk about Obasanjo because just it really boils my blood.
I think what we need to really be looking at this is this. You see, we have got to focus our energy on the foundation of the structure. Yes. If we do not do that, one of the dangers that we have to be very careful of is to become focused on any personality, because a personality is just a personality. They can replace it with another one at any point. Yeah. If we focus on the structure and we go at it relentlessly, collectively, and we dismantle it, then we can achieve the goal we want.
Right, because we're going to end that 1999 Constitution. We need to let the world know. And we know that they know, right? They know. Let's not kid ourselves. Yes, they know. But if we don't put it on blast, then they think that, oh, well, you know what, we'll just continue because, you know, we're exploiting them. And, you know, if they're stupid enough not to cry, because, you know, the old proverb, a closed mouth starves to death. It does not eat. So I am calling on all indigenous Nigerians, open your mouth. Open your wallets.
I think that somebody says, well, if you don't act in time, Nigeria will happen to you. Well, as we don't want Nigeria to happen to any of us, any of our people, any of our family, anybody we know, we've got to get into that fight and make sure we do the right thing and make sure we let those at home know, right, you know what? This is why you're in the situation you're in. This is what the way out is. And we have to do it. We have to show them that this is going to do. This is what we're doing from afar over here, and we're going to do it. But you on the ground, you have to do what you're going to do. Because without all of us acting, they're going to take us down. Because, you know, I think Bob Marley said, any way they can reach us through political strategy. This is what they're doing. Because Bola Tinubu has got a plan B. Do you know he's saying that, oh, he now wants to join this Oduduwa nation if he can't become the president? So he's saying, if it's not him, he's ready to wreck the whole thing anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing we can talk about. That's a real interesting point. And I'm aware of it. I've actually talked about this, and we did tell him this, and now it's now facing that. But be that as it may, our focus is our people need to take, you see, the sovereignty of our people that they possess is what they need to exercise in each of those regions. And what we're trying to do is to get them to realize that that sovereignty is theirs, not that of the fraudulent governors that impose this constitution on them. And what we continue to do, please do not believe for 1 minute that we're not making progress. We are. It might feel like we're not. We are making progress because every time that we're able to come out and remind our people about this, the need to break things up, break this constitution up, we are showing them somebody else new will learn about this and create more interest and to spread that message. So I just want to make us all, to remind us all that this is not something that it will happen immediately. It's a gradual process, and we have to sort of really be, be constructive and continuously be relentless in this drive. We have to be relentless in pushing and waking up our people. Yes, we are urging those of us who are in diaspora. Funding it is a very, very important. We cannot be silent because look, like late Malafia said, come August, what we've been crying about now, I'm sorry, I hate to say this, what we've been talking about, if we do not take connective action now, in August, we will get it then. And by then, all of us, everybody will be running. How are we going to, let's take the steps now. Please.
We'll all be eating the breakfast.
So, exactly. So we're saying this now, and I want us all to not lose sight of what we want to achieve, which is our collective self-determination. We need to be focused on that. We need not get distracted by arguments or side issues. Our focus must be to go straight to the point and achieve the awakening in our people, because it is the number when we reach that critical mass where it is unstoppable, where everybody understands exactly the oppression that they're under, that we can achieve self-determination. Right now, many people, we have to give them the reason to know why they must take the step to free themselves. And that is a struggle. It is. But let's continue. So I will stop there for now. Yeah, focus. So like I said, let's not give up. We can do this. It will take time. And those of you that have the connections within media to get the message out there, let's do it. Because this is about our collective future and the coming generation. Let's do it. It's not about talking now. It's about collective action. So yeah, anyway, I'll stop there for now. Thank you very much. I wanted to put a bit of positive spin on things. Jean, are you there?
Yes, I do. Stephen, if you're there, if you want to go ahead and give your closing remarks, that would be great. I'm actually looking out here to try to answer some questions in the chat that we have out here.
Yeah.
So
there are some
there's
interesting...
a question that came up, so let's talk about that now. There's a question that came up, that why isn't Femi Falana talking about the fraudulency of the 1999 Constitution?
Yeah.
And the response that I provided is that, as we see with the political elite and some of the folks also that should know, don't know, we have seen consistently how people protect their own bellies, their own pockets in Nigeria, instead of telling the truth, telling the facts. And that's kind of where we are. We have a lot more people now talking about that, right? Talking about the fact that this is fraudulent. We've seen videos about that going on, and so we just need to be more vocal. The people can and should be the ones. We cannot rely on those that we see ahead of us, because it is the people that can make a difference. So, Paul, go ahead.
Jim.
Hello.
Okay. Oh, let's hear from Stephen, sir.
I didn't realize I was on mute when you were
okay.
calling
okay,
my
go
name.
ahead then, and then we'll go to Paul.
Yes, sorry about that. The global community has turned a blind eye and deaf ears, because it has a genuine, it has a pecuniary benefit in the chaos of Nigeria. It never, from the beginning, had any sincerity in granting independence, because its whole existence was based on continue to pilfer the resources of Nigeria. So all the best it can do was grant us a charade.
Wait a minute, Paul. Just wait a minute. After Stephen is finished, then you can go ahead. Sorry about that.
Okay. So the best he could do for us then was grant a charade called independence by placing a proxy government of the Fulanis in there. So in summary then, the global community in general and the colonialists in particular have a vested interest in continuing to benefit in the chaos of the geopolitical contraption called Nigeria. So it will continue to look the other way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Paul. Go ahead, Paul. And before he comes on, I'll just bring up another question. Another comment is that the majority of the people on the ground in Nigeria don't have access to the internet, and so cannot see this message. And I think we've explained this in and Citizen AY. Can you explain again as to how this needs to be carried by our people and taken back to their people?
I think
this available for all.
I think those of you commenting and saying they can't reach ground, that's why we're saying all of us are important in this. Even cutting bits of this, sharing it to your people on WhatsApp groups, and saying, look, this is the information we have. 5-minute clips. Share. Look, this is about us collectively working together. It's not a job for one group of people. This is something that we are all taking on because we believe firmly in our self-determination collectively as Igbos, as Middle Belt, as Yorubas, going for self-determination. It is not a task that somebody else will sit down and go, okay, what are you guys doing? Because it is impacting all our families, all our lives. We need to be part of this process. If you see there's a gap that is not being met in your, and you have connection with your community, or you can set one up, do so. This is something that all of us must take on, because this fraud has impacted our lives. It has already changed the course of our own future. It has. That is why many of us are in diaspora. Now, the future of the coming generation, if we can take the opportunity we have now to positively influence it so that they now reach their true potential within their own, within that, the indigenous land, that is something to be proud of. That is something to be proud of. So I'm urging you, please don't just, yes, we welcome that you point this out. But that's why on my broadcast, both on here, on all platforms, I always say, you watching me, you have a role to play. Absolutely. And I'm not, look, we are all leaders in this struggle. Yes. Come up with suggestions, take actions. Let's see those actions on ground, spread it around. If it's action that others can copy from, share it. We'll bring you on the platforms so we can all talk, all of us.
Yeah, so let me make a quick comment, Citizen AY, with that. Yeah. They're saying that those in the in the villages, etc. But the youth are on social media.
They are.
And once we get them engaged, they would be formidable in getting the information out.
Yeah, they are.
And so we're trying to get the older people to come on Twitter, because when our message is trending on Twitter, guess what, guys? It goes much further. The years. You saw what happened with NSARS. We were tweeting our, tushes off over here in the US, just pushing it out, so that we had, you had that critical mass, right? Because we had to join in with the youth to do that. Yeah. And this is a time for them to understand, because a lot of them don't know this information. And now you're getting it. You have a responsibility to send it out. Paul, go ahead. You can unmute, Paul.
Hello, I'm here. Good afternoon.
Right, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I'm at work. I just had a little time, so let me call.
Okay.
So I was just thinking about something when we are talking about all the network we may use to lay our message across to our people. I was just looking at some of our prominent men in the country who know that the country is not working and who desire a change. The type we are talking about, a dropping of the present constitution and a new Nigeria. So, in particular, I'm looking at people like the Nobel laureates, Wole Soyinka, Bishop Kruka, and even this prelate of the Methodist Church who was recently kidnapped and released after paying a huge sum of money. So people like that know that things are not working, and if we can get them and put our message across to them properly, if they can buy into what we are doing, they can amplify, because they are global figures. Wole Soyinka has been sort of on the quiet side, even though he knows things are not working the way it should be. I think if we can reach them, because I have some few friends in the media. I was in the media myself while I was in the country for some years. I have my few colleagues in the media. I've talked to them. They said, "Oh, we can only share this on our own social media without using our names. That if we go straight into our media, they will not allow it to be broadcast." One has even formed a different group. There's one man called Expensive. He runs Wazobia FM news program in Lagos between the hours of 3 p.m. our time, Eastern time here, and 9 and probably 11 p.m. Monday through Friday. I'm in touch with him, but he says that he can't put this thing on their program because the government will shut them down and he will lose his job.
I mean.
Paul.
Jean?
Yeah.
So I need to respond to that very quickly.
Yeah, let him finish, and then you can do.
If somebody like Wole Soyinka, he knows the situation. He has faced the menace of these Fulanis. He knows Nigerian system very well. He knows what is going on. I don't think he likes what is going on. But if you can reach him by any means, I think he can key in. And if he talks, the world knows his voice. If he speaks, even CNN, BBC, they'll carry it. So I'm thinking of that area, among other things we are doing. But my only part, I'm sending messages across to my people, those I know back home in various media, social media I belong to. I've been telling them. So that's it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, I need to say that there are prominent Nigerians that support our cause and are working behind the scene. Then they are not necessarily making the noise that we are making in diaspora. One good example is Professor Wole Soyinka. Historically, he actually started the agitation in 2014 when he met with the then Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan. And ever since, he has been working behind the scenes, unbeknown to us all. He was in the United States recently negotiating in connection with this 5 million signature petition. So there are people that are working on the ground. If you want to talk about the people that are prominent, talk about the real billionaires that are benefiting from Nigeria's wealth that are from the South. They're not saying anything. There are a whole lot of people that are working. Wole Soyinka is one of them. Matter of fact, to the extent that there is religious persecution, I can assure you that those clergymen, prominent clergymen that you have mentioned, they are also working behind the scene with the Evangelical Society in the United States to do something. We just may not be aware of it because they choose to remain in Nigeria and work behind the scene. Thank you.
Very good point.
Okay.
I was going to say something similar about Professor Wole Soyinka, as far as I know. So yes, I'm grateful for my elder brother for clarifying that issue. Professor Wole Soyinka has been very active, if you know, not necessarily vocally, as you can see, but behind the scenes. And you can see recently he was with Professor Banji Akintoye as well. So there are things to be said there, but we need others to come on board. The more the merrier is what I would say. The more the merrier. You know, we need to see that action. Thank you.
Very quickly, you will notice that some of these people that I've mentioned, they are prominent, but they are not the wealthy ones. Okay, the wealthy ones are back there. They are not. For one example was the Rochas or Korochas, who Nigeria happened to very recently. Those are the ones that should have jumped on the bandwagon. But now when Nigeria happened to him, all of a sudden he put it on social media how DSS came through the roof. Look, they brought hammer tanks into Chief Sunday Igbo's house. So welcome to Nigeria. Thank you.
Well, I saw a video of him going through the presidential, whatever it is, screening or whatever, laughing with everybody. So that's all a charade.
That's exactly it. It's all,
So again, in closing, we've been talking about why is the world not acknowledging the fraudulency of the 1999 Constitution and the legitimacy of the regions or nations that existed in Nigeria. And there are a multitude of reasons, as everyone has talked about. There are those that are benefiting from having, the status quo stay the way it is. And there are those that, really don't know the history of Nigeria, the fact that there's no such thing as House of Fulani and the Fulani are migrants, and the fact that that constitution was not made by the people, but was imposed upon them. And it has created a apartheid where the indigents are pretty much living in slavery in their own land.
Quick one, please, Jane, on that one, please. I want people to really understand that every time you see the word Constitution of Nigeria, please note that what you are looking at as a document is merely a Schedule 2 promulgation decree. It is not the Constitution. The real power is the promulgation decree. They even said so, that decree is the Constitution of Nigeria, not the schedule. They said so within the document. Absolutely. And I just want to make sure we highlight that. Thank you very much.
That's a great point there. That's a great point there. And then, and so we're taking the onus on ourselves, right? It doesn't matter what reasons that they're given for why they're not doing that, why the UN Secretary General is supposed to be supporting these nations, is talking about, endorsing the integration of terrorists. Maybe he doesn't know. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He doesn't know. So who's going to tell him? It's you and I. It's you and I. So the BBC doesn't want to put the right information in their newscast. It's you and I. The CNN, Al Jazeera, the Wall Street Journal, the Times of Israel, the Times of India, any of those newspapers around the world, and radio stations and TV stations and their Facebook pages. It's you and I to bring the debunking, to bring the truth, and to do it consistently and to do it clearly so that we can achieve our goals. This is where you and I come on board. So for everyone that has said that, we don't have people in social media, that's not true. A lot of our youth are in the social media, and we need to reach them. You're on social media, you're listening to this broadcast. You're the one that would expand the reach. You're the one that would make the difference. You are the difference maker. If they could do it in France under the French Revolution, so can we. We're making strides, but we need to push harder. So thank you again, everyone, for joining in, and we'll be here next week when we'll be tackling some more information. But know this, everyone, all this information is worth repeating in lots of different ways because it hasn't been available for our people to digest, especially our youth, which is the 16 to 40. Yeah. They don't know this information. So it's up to you. Kanayo, up to you. Chukwemeka out there, up to you, all of you that are putting in chat to see that this information gets to them. So Citizen AY, we are signing off. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
And, of course, our Twitter handle is at Freedom from NGR. That's at Freedom from Nigeria, NGR. And Citizen AY, your Twitter handle is?
Yeah, it is at Citizen AY.
At Citizen AY. Guys,
Citizen AY.
Get your Twitter handles.
Yeah,
Go
in there. Get in there.
Retweet the messages, tag your friends, get them on board.
Indeed.
Because it does matter if we have 100,000 tweets going out or if we have 1,000. And that's where you make the difference. Okay. So thank you all very much again, and everyone have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you. Bye for now. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.